Stephanie, thank you for doing the second part of this interview again with me. We got excellent feedback from the social media, and I'm so grateful that we can have your knowledge and hear how you reversed your type 2 diabetes with the carnivore way of eating. And yes, if you're ready, then I'm going to ask the first question. I've put your blood work, your lab work on my blog, and I refer people to that because you reversed your type 2 diabetes with it. And I think it's significant, but I feel people miss the point. I spoke to one or two clients and I pointed them to that particular video that you made on Instagram. But
Yes.
it is as if people hear it and then they don't really pay attention to it. And I think we must talk and highlight it a bit. If you don't mind going through your lab results with us, like you did on that video, perhaps, just to
Sure.
tell us, what did you do? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me back. I really didn't know what I was getting into when I jumped on board with carnivore, and all of the amount of healing that has come along is unbelievable. So when previously my blood glucose levels were, oh my gosh, they were, my cholesterol, my glucose, they were just ridiculously high. My numbers were like in the 300s. And so when I went, was it 2 weeks ago? Well, 3 weeks ago now, I got the results back 2 weeks ago. And I had a full panel done. And my disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I am just a normal person like you and I didn't know what a lot of these numbers meant, but my doctor was great and sent me a printout that had all of the, here's what my numbers are versus here's what's normal and healthy, and here's what's unhealthy. So my blood glucose now hovers around, my average is around 76 to 80, which, if you are diabetic, those numbers are somewhere in the 300s. That's where mine used to be. So I'm not a wonder child. I didn't do anything above and beyond other than I just simply stopped eating. I stopped eating sugars and carbohydrates, and I just eat meat. I practice the carnivore way of eating. My cholesterol levels, they said my value was 186. To any of us, we don't know what that means, right? But the desirable range is less than 200. If your cholesterol is high, it's going to be between 200 and 239, and so on up. Well, as carnivores, we hear a lot, oh my gosh, your cholesterol is going to be so high. Well, oops, sorry, I have a cat. That just proved that to be false. Triglycerides, my value was 81, which normal range is below 150. So that puts me well beyond a healthy range. If your numbers are 150 to 199, that's considered borderline high. So coming in at 81, that is outstanding. Let's see. And then of course we went into like the LDLs and the HDLC, which my value was 73. The normal range is above, low would be less than 40. Desirable range is to be greater than 60. So coming in at 73, again, that's just absolutely, wonderful. I don't really know what else to say other than
Yes.
the numbers don't lie.
Yes.
I eat bacon, I eat ground beef, I eat butter like it's a candy bar. The numbers don't lie. My cholesterol is good. My blood work is good. My fasted glucose is 76, and when I eat, sometimes it's 2 or 3 pounds of meat at a time. My glucose, the highest it gets is maybe 90. So that means I am no longer, not only am I not type 2 diabetic, I am not pre-diabetic, I'm not diabetic, which means I've reversed that 100%.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. Did you ever take diabetes medication when they diagnosed you to be diabetic? Not at all. Okay.
I'm very stubborn, and honestly, I don't like medications at all because I was on such a roller coaster of them previously. But being on a really tight budget, I just couldn't afford it. And I was like, if there's a way that I can reverse this diagnosis without having to be linked to another monthly bill,
yes,
then I was going to find that.
Yes.
And so carnivore works unbelievably well for that. And not only am I not taking meds, but I'm not spending money at gas stations on Cokes and candy bars and treats. So it was almost like giving myself a raise.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. No, I think there's a lot of people out there that don't know this information. So I'm so glad that we are putting this video out. That is wonderful.
Thank you. And if anybody is watching this and you want to ask me questions, feel free to, tag messages in here, and we'll try to answer questions, right?
Yes, absolutely. And also, if they go to my blog and they click on your video, the blood work video, they will get to your Instagram, and then they can follow you there. Yes. Yes. All right. Now the next question. Or is there anything else you wanted to say about the blood lab work?
I don't think so. Other than I think, I was not sure what to expect. So I'm kind of like wide-eyed, just like anybody who's watching this video going, really? Because I'm just as amazed when I see the numbers, and they were my numbers.
Yes. And, one can talk a lot, but if you take out a piece of paper and say, here's the results, end of the discussion, it's like you say, numbers don't lie.
My doctor was the same. She even said, she was like, well, if the numbers don't come back good, be prepared to have a different conversation. And I said, okay. But when she saw the numbers, she said, okay, I'm listening. She said, this is obviously working. So I'm very thankful that I found a doctor who is willing to listen.
Yes, I'm so grateful. All right. So the next question is, do you ever eat outside your diet? And how does it affect you if you do?
When I first started doing carnivore, I started back in January, where I was strict. And initially I was once a week I would try something, or I had a couple of, around my birthday in February, I had a couple of days where coconut cake and tacos got me. But the fallout was absolutely not worth it. I mean, for me, the sugar and everything that is in there, in the cheat foods, affect my mental status in such a way that I won't notice it that day, but the next day I'm crying and I'm manic and I'm moody and I'm yelling at my kids over nothing relevant, to where they kind of go, hey, Mom, are you aware that you are acting like this? And I have to take a step back and look at what I've eaten. And like I mentioned previously, I track everything I eat. And that's not for weight loss more than it is for my moods. Because then I can go back and go, okay, I was behaving out of control this day, and I can trace it back to what I ate the previous day. And it takes me about 6 or 7 days to undo that.
Sure.
So no, I'm not going to be eating outside of this way that anytime soon that I can see.
That's great. And do you drink tea or coffee?
I like my coffee. I do, but I've limited it now. I only have 1 cup per day, just one in the morning,
Okay.
and that's it.
Well, you're better than me. Anyway, but let's not go there. Anyway, so the next question would be related to moods. How would you say, but you actually already answered it, how does carnivore help with your moods?
Yes. I mean, it really does. I'm, by tracking everything, I learn my triggers. I learn the things that onset my moods. But the carnivore way of eating, it's not just managing my moods. It lifts that brain fog. Like, I'm happy, and anyone who could talk to me a year ago could tell you my moods were all over the place, and I would have days where the depression would eat me alive, and I felt despair, and I felt depressed and helpless, and I struggled a lot. So this has really been liberating, because I'm not, anyone who suffers with depression, you know how debilitating it is. There's days where you just can't get out of bed, and I don't have that anymore.
Yeah, that's wonderful. You mentioned you had food sensitivities in one of your videos before carnivore. Are there any food types that you avoid now? I'm thinking of fish and eggs, and I know about the dairy that you talked about, but let's talk about it.
Well, I've been allergic to milk ever since I was tested, I think when I was 8. And everyone in my family has different reactions to it. I have one family member who actually has like an asthmatic reaction to dairy. Some get eczema, some get hives. For me, it weakens my kidneys and my bladder. So that's a no-go for me. But some types of cheese I can tolerate. But I've noticed when I eat them, as of lately, it's making me hold on to inflammation and causes pain in my joints. So I'm doing no dairy July. We'll see how it goes. It's
okay.
Like, I know it's not good for me, and I do it anyways. So this month is going to be the test. I'm holding myself accountable.
Yeah. Right. The next question is, I saw you eat ground beef or minced beef with butter and ricotta cheese as a daily meal. How important is sustainability and affordability to the carnivore way of eating for you? And what would you say to someone who say carnivore is just too expensive or affordable in the long term?
That's a really good question. I thought that too. Going in, I thought, I can't afford this. I can't afford to be healthy. Steak is so expensive. So for me, I'm a single mom. I'm on a budget, and so I have to make things work. And I have found I can buy a 5-pound package of ground beef. Of course, I have my butter that is a staple. But like, for instance, yesterday I bought a 5-pound package of ground beef. That was about $20. I bought bacon. That was $13 for 3 pounds. And I bought some little cab rib steaks. And those packages were $7. And there were 3 in each one. So altogether, that was $47. And that's all I'll need to buy for the next 2 weeks. So because I really only eat Monday through Thursday, I'll eat about 3/4 of a pound of meat a day. And then I fast until Saturday when I'll have steak. And then Sunday, maybe some steak and bacon. So really that I eat for about $30 a week, we'll say.
Yes. And just for interest sake, what is your opinion on grass-fed beef? Do you buy any of that or not really?
I don't. I know there are some like hardcore carnitarians who are very strict and very, you know, that's it and there's no other way. I feel like you have to do what works for you. You have to do what works in your budget, and I don't see anything wrong with it. There's days where my daughter will go to McDonald's and we'll do the Kelly Hogan thing and just be like, "I need 5 meat patties, please." And that's a treat for me because I don't have to cook. But ultimately, do I think it's essential? No, I think that's just a personal choice.
Yeah, it's very true. I'm passionate about affordable meat, and because I work with many people that can't afford the most expensive cuts, and the first thing they would say is, "Yeah, I can't afford it," and then I point them to cheaper meat. Yeah, so there's options.
Absolutely, yeah, and for me, I have to remind myself of all of the trips I used to make to the gas station because I was really bad about that, and I would go and I would stop and, well, I'll just get a candy bar and I'll just get this bag of chips. Well, those $3, $5 stops, once you don't do that anymore, okay, well, now you can put that towards a nicer cut of meat. But also, I practice OMAD, which I usually only eat once a day. Okay. And so that one meal is very inexpensive for me.
That's wonderful. All right. So did you ever consider the nose to tail eating with carnivore?
I did. When I first jumped in, I was, I'm going to do this, and I have to get all these vitamins, and I did, but I just don't care for a lot of it. I do like chicken livers. I do like beef liver, but I don't like to cook it. So now I do, from time to time, I purchase pig's feet and chicken paws, and I use those to make my bone broth with. And for something like that, I can do an inexpensive pot of broth, and that makes for really nice, throw some butter in there. That makes for a nice, hearty, inexpensive meal throughout the week also.
Yes, that's great. Tell me about fasting Fridays. Okay, you already mentioned it a little bit, but why do you do it first of all? And then how does the fasting help you?
Okay, so that's another great question. Fasting Friday is kind of a big deal for me for a lot of reasons. For number one, it's recovering from, being where I was a diabetic. When I fast, I give myself a 48-hour fast. That helps deplete any glycogen stores that I have, so it burns off any reserves that I have of insulin, because I am very, very insulin resistant. So that anything that I may have stored up during the week, that helps deplete that all. So it keeps me in a good place. And then with my gut, it gives my gut a nice chance to rest and take a break from digesting all the meat that I've eaten all week. But more than that, it is a mental thing for me. Fridays used to be kind of my dirty little secret. I used to really look forward to them, and I would binge. While my kids were at school, I would go get my coconut cake and 6 tacos and 2 orders of sushi and chips and dip and a Coke. And I would go home, and half a gallon of ice cream. And I would eat all of it. I would pass out in this horrible food coma, and then I would wake up, throw away the evidence, and go out to dinner with my kids as if I hadn't eaten at all. And as anyone who struggles with addiction knows, those behaviors become habits, and habits are really hard to break. So for me, that day in particular, Friday, today, I forced myself to break that habit and say, okay, this is not a day where I look forward to recreational eating. This is a day where I look forward to going for walks, having an adventure, doing anything other than the bad habits I had created for myself.
Yeah.
That was a long answer, but it's a big deal for me.
No, but there's a lot to be learned, because I don't understand fasting so much. I know it from a religious perspective, but Old Man Keto, he taught me a lot about fasting. But even yourself, your story makes a lot of sense, coming from diabetes. But I guess,
Old Man Keto is, he's fasting for cancer.
Yes.
And so the thing is one of the things that we've learned is cancerous cells feed on stored glucose. So if you are depleting any of those stores that you have, you're kind of starving it out, and it has nothing to feed on.
Yes. Now, there's a lot to be learned, and like I mentioned in his interview with the carnivore coaching, we actually have fasting coaches at MeatRx. So I'm a carnivore coach, yes, but I intend to do the fasting coach course as well. But because I think there's value, I don't understand it completely, but I think there's a lot of value there. Yeah. All right. Now, a very interesting question. How do you take care of your spiritual, psychological, and emotional side?
Okay. Well, I have mentioned before that I get up at 3:45 every day, which is really early. Partially because I feel well enough to get up, but I have started dedicating that time. Like I have about 2 hours from the time I wake up until I actually have to go to work, and I dedicate that time when I get up in the morning to. I start every day by saying, thank God I woke up today. Thank you for my warm bed and my hot coffee and my healthy kids. And I go through everything that I am thankful for every morning without fail. I do have, I am Christian. I have a healthy relationship with God. And I don't talk about that a lot because subjects are very tough, tight, and judgy these days. So I kind of keep all that to myself. But I do dedicate time every day for that every morning. And I think that helps keep me humble and keep me grounded.
Yes. Yeah, that is powerful what you say. And I agree with you with the social media also. Sometimes I try to also be low-keyed in regards with that, but sometimes I do talk. But some people might not appreciate that always. But then again, they say what they want to say, and it's their channel.
I will say that the network of people who are trying to better their health here on Instagram has been absolutely incredible. I have had so much positive feedback from everybody.
Yes.
And that makes it a lot easier. It really does. You don't feel like such an oddball or outcast, and it's great when connecting with other people that are out here doing the same thing I am.
That's right. I must say I did not get any pushback at all whenever I talk about spiritual matters. On Instagram, I never got pushback. On Twitter, maybe there a little bit, but they just unfollow you. So.
That is true.
But luckily there's a lot of people that can still follow you, so there's no worries. Anyway, okay, you lost 60 pounds, with your since beginning your journey, and that's a lot. That's like 27 kilos. Congratulations, first of all.
But thank you.
It's a big number. But tell me, Was it all carnivore, or would you say your exercise played a part as well?
No, actually, I don't think the exercise played any part. I would say I started with keto was initially, but that was eliminating all of the carbs and sugar. And then once I transitioned to carnivore, it's really been not fast, but definitely at least 1 to 2 pounds a week, which I'm happy with. The exercise, I think, is more of a byproduct. That's just something I do because I feel good and I like walking, and I've set some goals for myself, health, fitness goals that I've set, but I don't feel like that is necessary to lose weight with the carnivore way of eating.
Yes, yes. No, I agree with you. I actually stopped running when I started carnivore 16 months ago, and then I lost the weight. So,
your push-ups every day are challenging me. Like, I watch and you post every day, and I'm like, oh man, I really need to start doing push-ups, but then I just haven't got there yet.
you do well with your running. Okay, what would you tell someone with diabetes or who are obese today?
Really, my advice would be so simple. You have the opportunity, you have the power to decide to take control of your own health. We all get on social media and hear so many people say, well, this is not good for you and that is not good for you. And I think at some point it's really important to stop listening to what everyone else says and start learning and make your own decisions. Find out what works for you. We're not all the same. Like I said, I'm going to choose not to eat dairy. Am I telling anybody else to do that? No, because everybody is different and you have to do what worked for you, but just decide to take ownership of your own health.
That's very true. And it actually relates to my next question. In one of your videos, you talked about getting out of your own way. And I thought that is very powerful. What are your thoughts on accountability?
Oh man, I used to make every excuse there was. I mean every excuse. Well, I'll start Monday because I've got a party to go to this week, and oh well, there's a church function and they're going to be making fried chicken, and so I'll start Monday. And I allowed myself to make a lot of excuses, and so it just, for me, it's a matter of taking accountability. I have to get out of my own way, stop believing my own excuses, and just say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm not what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing.
Okay, that's great. Tell me, will you ever add plants back in your diet?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Will you ever put plants back into your diet?
I'm not going to say never. I might. I do like vegetables, but I don't like feeling yucky. So, sure, there'll be time every once in a while. I'm sure I'll enjoy some Brussels sprouts or something, but the other stuff, it's just not worth putting my body through.
That's true.
The fallout from afterwards.
I saw on Twitter today somebody said he tried a salad today and he was so sorry. So he tried a salad.
Well, I saw, I don't know if where you are, if they have like the bag of salad at the grocery store that's like vacuum packed in a plastic bag.
Yes.
But if you've ever noticed, some of them are, vacuum sealed, and then some of the bags will look puffed up with air, like potato chips. And I learned that what that is vegetables, plants, they have a natural defense. They don't want to be eaten. So they have gases that they give off. So when you see one of those bags that's puffed up like that, like potato chips, it's actually the gases coming off of the plants that are dying.
Yeah.
And so when I eat plants, my tummy does that because they let off that gas, and my tummy gets really fat and bloated, and it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I have to go. I don't want to feel that way.
That's true. Tell me, Stephanie, you talk about healing in your videos. What other goals do you have concerning your health, or maybe other goals?
Well, my goals are long-term to stay off of medication.
Okay.
My mother right now is 82 years old, and she does not take any medication at all, and she is healthy, and I aspire to do that as well. Short-term fitness goals, I have set a goal for myself. I want to run a half marathon by my 50th birthday, which is about 20 months. I have no formal training. I'm just winging it, but I'm gonna try to make that happen.
Yeah. Okay, so you are going for the marathon, because I heard you speak about sprints.
Well, there's another lady whose page I follow, Lou, and she's a master sprinter, and I really enjoy her posts, and I do feel very inspired by them. But I really want to push myself and see if I can do it.
Well, all the best for you. All right.
Thanks.
Tell me, what is the title of your book?
If it's important, you'll find a way.
If it's important, you'll find a way. This is powerful.
Yep. I mean, when you talk to people and they say, oh, you say, hey, do you want to go do this? And they'll give you an excuse, or especially, I always say everyone is your friend until it's time to move.
Yeah.
The moving day, then everyone is busy and they scatter and you can't find anyone. Yeah. And the thing is if it's important, you make a time, you find a way to make something happen. And if not, you make excuses.
Very true.
So that is where that comes from. And I post that often, and I live by that.
That's powerful. But did you write the book yet?
Nope, I did not. But if I do, that's what I'm going to call it.
Well, you're now commissioned.
I feel like I might have been.
I'll make sure the people on Instagram know that. All right. Would you recommend the carnivore way of eating to anyone, or do you think there are some people that can't do the carnivore way of eating?
Well, I say, obviously there's going to be some people who may have pre-existing medical issues that for them this might not be a great idea. But just try anything. You can try anything for 30 days.
Yes.
If you try it and you say, okay, that's not for me, okay, but at least you tried.
Very true.
I have not yet met anyone who tried it and didn't feel so amazing they didn't want to keep going.
Yeah, it's very true. And it's a great elimination diet, especially with people that struggling with things like allergies and, even things like arthritis. If you can start to eliminate the toxins, many things come right.
Yes.
Yes. Tell me, looking back at your health journey, what would you do different?
I was one of those people that just believed everything the doctor told me because the doctor told me, so it must be true.
Yes.
So I think I would have started questioning things sooner. I think I would have done a little more of my own homework, and I didn't know that you had choices. You could ask questions, and it was okay to question the doctor. I think that's what I would have done. I would have asked more questions.
Yes, that's great. And tell me, is there a book that you can recommend to me?
That I can recommend to you?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. The Carnivore Diet by Sean Baker. I think that's the staple. That's the starting point for any of us.
That's a very good very good choice. And tell me, would you consider becoming a carnivore coach?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. I feel like this is an excellent platform to reach people, but I would love to have that opportunity to one-on-one to coach people. Yes.
That's wonderful. Stephanie, yeah, these are the questions that I wanted to ask you, and I think you answered them very well, and I'm so grateful for your time and all the information you gave us. And I believe people are going to learn from the information, and they should really look you up on Instagram and follow you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you giving me the platform to do this. And I think together we're gonna reach some folks and maybe make some new connections.
Absolutely, and keep posting your videos, and I'm looking forward to chat with you on the internet.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Have a lovely evening. What's the day by you now?
Yes, I am just now going to start my day. I think I'm going fishing.
All right, wonderful. But have a great day.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.